everyone, and welcome to another episode of ATX Crypto. My name is Nathan, aka ATX Crypto, and today I'm super excited to have a very special guest with us. Y'all already know him. He is one of the OGs of the Hexkin communities, a crypto expert, a visionary, a legend in our community. He's been in this game for a long time. He's seen it all. He has a wealth of knowledge, ton of experience in the various fields of finance, economics, psychology, philosophy, and more. The dude is not afraid to speak his mind and challenge the status quo. He is here to share his thoughts and his wisdom on his PulseChain and PulseX and everything else that matters. So please give a warm welcome, my friends, to Wales Only. How you doing?
Man, that was quite the introduction. Like, what? Do I talk about all
Hey,
that shit? I didn't even know.
hey, you may not even realize it, dude. You get deep on some stuff, man. I seen someone say the other day, like they onboarded their mom in yesterday's stream. I think it was
All
a few days
right.
ago. They onboarded their mom, looking at all of your videos.
Yeah. Yeah, I was blown by that. So I was like, what is going on? Because I be
Exactly.
saying
That's
some off the wall shit,
That's how it
like,
goes, man. That's how it goes. You
yeah.
you drop some knowledge, but you do, man. You gotta. I gotta say, you definitely challenge the status quo. I got a lot of respect and a lot of love for you and a lot of appreciation. You were by far one of the first people I began watching on my journey into this hex ecosystem, and yeah. So thank you for all that you did to start. You know what I mean?
Appreciate
I
it, man.
know, if I remember correctly, the very first time when you started your channel, the idea wasn't even to have a channel. It was just to make one video.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Here we
yeah.
are 3 years later.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy, right?
That
Because
is wild.
the funny thing is, when I was like, damn, I got to make this video, it was because I could tell people didn't really understand what was going on. And I didn't understand that people just were not of the same caliber as
Mm,
those of us that were around back in the day. I just didn't know because I was
mm.
gone. I left crypto in 2017. I just came back to Twitter for Hex.
Yep.
So to me, I was really brand new with respect to everything that was really going on at that point in time.
Right, right,
So
right.
I had to reassimilate, and it took longer than it should have, because I really was just like not realizing that people really just didn't know basic shit.
Mm,
Yeah, I mean that's why I
mm.
ended up putting that. You seen that scrolling ticker on the bottom of my screen where I say, please do not share your C words, private keys. Don't click on random links. Like, that's very basic, but people need to know that they can't do that. Something so
That's a good
simple.
idea. I actually should look at maybe implementing that myself because you think it's so simple and so basic that yeah, everyone should know it, but then you hear every single day of someone giving their seed words up because
Yeah,
of customer service or what.
right. Some craziness, man.
Yo, hey, I sent my coin somewhere. Can y'all help me? Yeah, just give me your seed words.
Yeah,
What?
man. Anytime I hear that, I'm just like, how does this continuously happen? Why do you think the internet is the only place where free money exists to the point
mm,
where there's nobody else that knows about it but you?
mm,
Because that's
mm.
usually when there's like when you come across something like that where you liable to get hacked, you got to confirm that with somebody. You can't just click
Facts.
on it and like
Well, and
somebody.
and
Go ahead,
you
bro. Go
know,
ahead.
so I was gonna say, like my mother-in-law, she didn't fall victim to it or nothing like that, but they still have the scammers who come out and like, hey, I'm part of the police department and we're reaching out to you and whatever. I
Wow,
forget the
social
exact.
engineering is what that's
Yeah,
called.
social engineering, right? And so she
Yeah.
ended up she didn't fall victim to it because she reached out to my wife and her daughter, and of course, my my wife's like, "Are you fucking dumb? Like, why would you? Why do you think that's real? Like, what?
Right.
Why would they be reaching out to you? Have you done something wrong? No.
Right.
Then like, why the fuck are you falling victim to it?
Right. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense.
Oh shit! But it still happens every single day, and with crypto, I mean, people are. I don't even know. It's almost like more willing to accept help from others and but like get fall victim to it too, I guess.
I
I don't
think it's
know.
a couple things. Well, I think it's several things, right? You
Mm,
have like when somebody gets onboarded into crypto like through Hex community, they might or might not know that there is no such thing as customer service, right? They might or
right.
might not know. If
Right.
they get onboarded anywhere else, they're not gonna know there's no such thing.
Mm. Well, it also comes down to the knowledge of the person who onboards,
Right, right, right.
who brings you on board into crypto. Because I know, like, dude, my process for onboarding people into crypto, dude, it takes days, weeks, and sometimes months,
It
to
depends.
make
Yeah.
sure that they have it done right. Because I already know the susceptible parts or that
Right,
they could
right,
fall victim to,
right.
and I want to make sure that they don't fall victim on that dumb shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Like as simple as just taking a picture of your seed words, man. Something so
Right.
simple. When you first create your wallet, taking a picture of your seed words. Some people still do that,
Yes.
and God.
You gotta be telling them like, yo, please get pencil and paper. This is what I tell people. Please get pencil and paper.
Mm. Get
Nothing
pencil to
else.
paper. I love that.
Yeah.
So
Pencil.
I got away from the paper mentality myself. I go
Oh
with the
man,
put.
I got an electric pencil sharpener, bro. Like it's 1990 something in this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, ain't having it. Ain't having it. They're trying to take us too virtual for a reason. You gotta fight it.
Oh shit! No,
That's
I
how
got
I see
scared.
it.
I got scared that I was gonna pour water or something on it. You know what I mean?
No, I know what you mean. Yo, it
I was
happened to
like,
me the
man,
other
like,
day.
and
I
I did that
spill
for like
water
the
all the
first
time,
year.
so I already know.
Oh shit, dude! I absolutely love that pencil to paper though, folks.
Yeah,
Get that
yeah,
pencil to
yeah.
paper. Get your seed words off it, man. Don't share it. Don't fall victim to the scams. What do you have to say about like Pulse Chain coming out? Like how many like do you all the vectors are gonna be open to the floodgates are gonna open for
Uh,
scams?
yeah, it's gonna be a day of emotions for a lot of people, and
Mm,
for good and bad,
mm,
because a lot of people don't realize how much of a minefield the internet really is.
right,
And I think if you didn't come up, I guess kind of when I did. I mean, I think I came up almost at the perfect time. I'm not as old as Richard, so I'm
right,
not as well versed per se in CLI, like command line interface language and shit like that.
right.
But I understand it to this point now. I'm good enough now to grasp what's going on. But there's just a difference in knowing what a scam looks like and what doesn't. And I just know because of when I came up and the internet I saw as I came up.
Mm, mm,
Some people didn't bother to look, and they're my age. You know what I'm saying? Like
right,
I was
right.
just fortunate enough to see, and I think that's what really allows me to at least be able to warn people like, hey, pay attention to this, pay attention to that, because
Mm.
I'm not no expert in that regard. It's just some
Well, I
things are
mean,
obvious
I,
or should be.
I would say if you're not an expert, then you're at least in like the top 5% of knowledge when it
Right,
comes to
correct.
how to not fall
That's
victim to it. So
right. You got to share it. That's right.
yeah, you gotta share. So I appreciate everything that you do, everything you've done, everything you continue to do, right, and share with everyone. So I mean, just having the eyes open with everything for the fact of like everything happening with the media, all the
Oh
influences,
man,
like basically it's all the psyops, like we talk about, right? They're
yeah,
essentially
yeah.
just coming out, just trying to put blinders on your face, make you either divisive about something, so you focus on something else where there's
Hmm.
something actually big happening. They don't want you to see that stuff.
Right. Yeah, it's
Um,
interesting because when I first started breaching those topics on stream with the community, the motherfuckers was a lot of people just weren't trying to hear it,
mm,
and I'm like, you guys just don't understand. It's all related.
right,
You cannot have one without the other.
right.
You don't get to pick. And look at where we're at now. Oh, all of the sudden, a matter of fact, today, motherfuckers,
Uh-oh.
huh? What
Oh.
what is crypto? Oh, it's a threat to national security. I wonder how that happened. Oh,
They
I
ain't
mean,
got nothing else to say.
nothing else, yo. Like I don't know how many times I gotta be right, but people just really need to wake up and stop
Oh, shit.
sniffing people's ass. You gotta learn that you are crypto. There is no industry. There is none of that. There is
Facts.
nobody that works for anybody. None of that shit. Like even the streamers, like they're volunteering their time. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Like
I mean, all
no,
this stuff, right? Like you,
yeah,
myself, and everyone who's out there putting in information,
that's
content. Dude, it
right.
takes time, man.
That's right.
It's not like you just you don't just wake up and get it done. Typically, there's editing, there's the streaming, there's setups, there's
Something.
camera, there's all this stuff behind the scenes that everyone doesn't even understand. But that's part of why we do it, man. It's like we go through this struggle to make sure that we can at least share the
Right.
basic knowledge. Like we're not
Right.
we can get deep into it, but a lot of people don't. They aren't even at that level yet,
No, no,
right?
that's
That's
okay, and that's like I'm not dumbing it down per se, but I'm changing my approach
mm,
and the information I'm gonna deliver and how I deliver it. Just because Pulse Chain is coming out, I think it's gonna be very important. Primarily because I don't want people getting wrecked trying to trade crypto. Like I can see it now, just because it's free,
mm.
or
Well, I
at
mean, so
least
you
free to
said it best
us.
right there. Pulse chain coming out when it
Hmm.
comes out.
Yeah, when it comes
But
out, yeah.
what are your thoughts on this right here? RH basically came through and apologized for V3 not being the final test net. He needs to apologize for
I don't
Shane
know,
Schuler.
man. I feel like wasn't it obvious when you didn't see buy and burn and all that? Like I
So
don't know.
I don't know.
I felt like it
I'm
was
always
obvious.
mixed, right? I'm in this torn emotion right now, right? And the reason why is because like we pump hopium, I feel like, into the community. Content creators, people posting stuff, people getting on
That's why I
Twitter
never talk
spaces.
about it, yo. You
You
never
pump hopium.
ever hear me talk about posting, cause here's the
I
thing.
know, I
Check it,
know.
check it. Remember when we were all talking about it back in the day? Yo, when we all thought that shit was coming out December, what, 2021? Everybody,
Before PulseX sacrifice.
right. Yeah, first one, right? And then at the end of the year, we all like, what the fuck? Man, shit ain't here. All right, well, at that point, I was just like, I'm done. I'm never talking about this shit again
Oh
until it
man,
comes
see, I
out.
wish I could have followed that virtue.
But the fucked up thing is that people want to hear about that shit. My
I
my
know.
videos ain't getting 6,000 views or whatever. You know what I'm saying? The motherfuckers with
Right,
Pulse
right.
Chain in the title are.
Yeah, and I see that all the time. You could just put
Yeah,
you could put pulse chain to 10,000x, and you're gonna get 10,000
damn
views in a
Skippy.
heartbeat. But I feel like that's all it takes. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, yeah, you might see a 10,000x, but be happy with what you get, boy. Like,
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
um,
I mean, I think people don't look at the God whale enough. I think they're too busy
mm,
watching his wallet and not watching how he got to have the wallet that he has.
mm.
You know, those are two different points of views, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, and so What's Got Crypto is on. We do the channel every Wednesday. Might as well do a shameless plug there every Wednesday. But the thing about it with what we were talking about and Godwell was the fact that you got to get that money before you can start making those moves, right? You got to
That's
get the
right.
money first, and then you can start making those plays. He's got the
Right.
money.
Right.
The dude's got the money. Godwell's got it. Like he waited, we'll say 7 years with Ethereum Genesis, right? Like before you
Right.
even got to touch it, he was over here just collecting,
Right.
collecting. Didn't even sell it. Didn't do nothing.
Didn't do anything.
And now he's over here with millions of dollars. And yeah, he wants to go and move it, stake it, sell it. Like who cares? He
Right.
waited
Well,
years. Like
I
have you
think
even wait? We haven't even waited 7 years in Hex.
well, that's the interesting thing, right? I know when I first came onto the scene, my whole thing was all about doing what those of us that fumbled in Bitcoin the first time around didn't do. That's my whole angle.
Mm,
This is why for me it's always been 15 years of bust. Especially
mm.
once I understood the T-shake. Like first of all, it was always a long-term hold for me. Period.
Right, right.
Right. Once I understood staking, it was like, oh, well, this is ridiculous. What are you guys even talking about? Anything less than 15 years? Like, why would you? Why would you? You know what I mean? Especially if you are of age where you can get away with it,
Yeah,
right? Or at
exactly.
least attempt to, because you don't know
Right,
what's going to happen in the future. But,
right.
point being, right, it's just math. And seeing what the dollar is destined to do, and given that we live under the auspices of the dollar,
Mm.
right? I mean, those of us that are subject to it will benefit the most from being exposed to crypto,
Right.
right? I
Facts.
mean, that's just a fact.
Right.
And there's not much that we can do about that except accept it because that's what's true. A lot of people don't want to accept that because they don't want to go like, especially my colleagues on Wall Street, bro. Like, you got to understand, I deal with these clowns every day. And a lot of them are
Uh,
clowns because they don't want to think that one next step. A lot of people are like, oh, gold, Fiat, where you run, if shit really does hit the fan, because we all see what they're trying to do. It's not like
Yep.
it's a secret.
Right.
We
They've been talking about this for years already now.
Yeah, but they're at the doorstep right now of really
Right.
popping
Facts.
off.
Facts.
Like it's like for those of us that comprehend what's going on, I'm I'm packing, and
Mm.
I'm like I don't know what's coming. Like
Mm.
I'm thinking every day I should really be walking out my house with my shit straight up, because we don't know the day that it could come, and I'm not the type that likes to get caught slacking. It's not my thing. You know what I mean?
Well,
So
clearly you run 10 miles over here, boy. You
yeah,
did that post, and I was like,
yo,
"What?" Like, I haven't ran
yeah.
10 miles in
Not
fucking
me,
years, dude. Since the Marine
bro.
Corps, I haven't ran that shit in years.
Yeah, not me. You know what's funny? When I was in the service, I wouldn't run like that. That shit
Mm.
happened all after.
Wow.
Yeah. It's
Wow.
yo, I'm a odd cookie. I'm an odd cookie because when I was in the service, I could just tell the energy was just off. They was always trying to get you to do some funny shit. In
Right.
fact, and I might have told this story before. Um, I can't remember if it was one of the first missions we did. It was some mission we did. Um, and I remember distinctly the commanding officer on the mission telling us not to fire if fired upon. I was like, all right, well, good for you. But if
Not
I
to
get
fire
shot
if
at,
fired upon. Yeah,
yes,
that's a fucking
sir.
butter bar right there. If I
Hey,
could saying some
yo,
stupid shit, dude.
that dude was a major. I'm never gonna forget.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm never gonna forget this dude. As soon as I heard that, this
Oh
rage
shit.
just woke up inside me. I wanted to strangle that motherfucker.
Oh
Can you
my
imagine
god.
being told
Yeah.
that out there? I mean, this
Yeah.
was 2003, bro. This was not 2010.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The shit was going on.
So I got fucked whenever I was in that same shit where you had to have positive identification of who you were shooting, and you had to see the
Oof.
person who shot, and these motherfuckers just pop
Yeah,
shots and hide. And so
yeah,
if you didn't know who was shooting,
yeah.
it
You were
was it was the
done.
dumbest thing. And I was in 07 and 08, so that was like right in the Obama administration came through, and they
Yeah.
basically tried to make all these rules. They allowed fucking on 2008. They allowed goddamn cars in between our convoys, dude. I was
Yes.
like, what in the flying fuck? Or
Yes.
like, why would
Yo.
you put the military? What? What?
Ooh.
Dude, my mind was blown at that point. Like, you want to talk about
Yeah.
like
When I
not to
heard
get
about
shot if
that,
fired upon? They're gonna let motherfuckers come in the convoy? Like, we just driving together? Like, fuck out of here, dude. That's
in my
whenever I knew
day,
some shit was fucked for sure.
in my day, motherfuckers need riding between them convoys, bro. You already know.
You don't come up to a convoy, you fucking get shot off. Then, and yeah,
Yeah.
dude, it was a weird fucking time, dude. And I was like, okay, so I could do 20 more years of this shit, or I could
Yo, you
find a
know what's
way out.
crazy? When I joined, my mind was 20 years set off the bat
Facts.
because I thought, it was gonna be
What you're looking for.
what you was looking for, right? A
Right.
place to just do your thing, chill,
Right.
da da da, make your
Right.
money, progress in life,
Yep.
the cookie cutter story you sold. Like, all right, nigga, I'm gonna fucking try it out. Yeah, I tried it out. But yo, they threw a motherfucker for a whirlwind, didn't they?
Yeah.
They
No,
threw
the
us for a
rules of
whirlwind.
engagement they could start coming with. I was like, if you don't give a fuck about my life, why I give a fuck about yours? You know
Correct.
what I mean?
Yeah, and they
Like,
have to start thinking like that, bro. Like it's not a positive thing for an
no, it's
individual.
not. It's
It's
really
not.
not.
It's really not.
No.
Because then, what are we left with?
Mm.
We're not left with much as human beings at that point. And
Dude, doubt's a fucking terrible thing to creep up in your head, man. You get doubt in a
yeah, bro.
situation, like should I do something, should I not? Like that hesitation gets you motherfucker killed, dude.
Yeah,
And that's
man. And let
not
me tell
good.
you, I think the worst thing that's ever happened to me was just when I got into the service, my time in the garrison was limited. I think I might have spent 50% of my time overseas.
Mm,
Now, if you take into consideration the impact of that on the human psyche, 50% of garrison ain't shit.
right.
That might as well have been 100% the whole damn time deployed. Because I was just getting in trouble every time I was back in the rear. You already know how it
Facts, dude.
goes. Yeah.
Facts, man.
Because you don't know how to behave. You don't know how to behave. You in the
Oh shit.
military. So you doing military shit no matter where
Yep.
you're at.
Right.
But the caveat was I only knew how to be in the military deployed.
Mm.
That was my upbringing. You understand? So I didn't know the garrison ways. I was steady getting into shit. It
Well,
was
as always,
crazy.
brother, I appreciate your service, everything that you've done, everything that you did, man. You were in the days when 9/11 went down, and that shit was crazy to be joining. I just,
You know what's wild? When I
hmm,
joined, that shit wasn't even at top of mind. I just joined because I really just needed an escape.
that's what
Like,
I joined for. That's like there wasn't like a I'm serving my country. I'm gonna go do my duty. Like, nah,
yeah, I was
motherfucker, I
trying to
need.
take care of me. Like, I didn't see. I wanted to be a mechanic and all that, and I just didn't
Yeah.
see how I could do it in a civilian world, like going
Wow.
to work, going to school. Like, bro, back then you was getting paid $5 an hour and change.
Right.
If you wasn't selling drugs and shit, you wasn't making no money. And I
Facts.
couldn't do that type of shit because my block was hot. So I
Mm.
was locked down. I couldn't really do no types of moves. So I was fucked in
Mm.
the game. Out of state, in state, I was fucked. So I really had no option, and I'm not gonna put myself on no fucking blotter just for the fuck of it, just to see. That's dumb. You know what I'm saying? So I took the other Fed time instead of the other Fed time, and that's pretty much
Right.
how all this shit came about. But
Facts, man. Facts.
yeah,
Facts
it's
on facts.
crazy.
Well, goddamn, dude. Much love to again all the service, all the appreciation that you did, man. And that's one of those things. Like sometimes you just got to get in that happen. You got to get in that moment, get through the shit, and then you come out. And like
Quite an
obviously
experience.
you've gotten out of the shit that you were in before. Clearly,
Yeah, quite an
um,
experience,
you've
man.
at least leveled up in life. So life's definitely full of surprises, man. But like, how did you? What kind of drew you? I got this question on Corey Costa's interview the other day, and I gotta say it was a great question. But like, our community is filled with a lot of the same like-minded individuals, such
Hmm.
as military folks, such
Yeah,
as the nurses, such as like the common folk, if you will, right? The common man.
right.
But like the military mindset, what do you think draws us so much into the Hex Pulse Chain, our community? What draws us in? What is that?
I think it's just RH's no bullshit demeanor.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Cause I be honest, that's what. So I'll tell you how I even found Hex.
Mm,
I was literally learning about the internet. How it works for real. Not on no bullshit. Not on no pleb
right,
shit, but
right,
like for
right.
real, for real. And I was learning about the domain name system at the time. And because I was typing that in on the search on the TV, hex.com, whatever came up. And I didn't know what hex.com was. I didn't know anything. I just saw RH on the thumbnail, probably is what it must have been.
Okay.
And because I recognized him, I clicked on it because I knew him from the early days. I
Right,
was like,
right,
oh, this
right.
motherfucker's still doing crypto shit. Let me see what he's talking about. That's
Mm.
literally all it was. Yo, straight up, because I was involved in some bullshit deal where I ended up selling something for Bitcoin, and that was all it was. I was like, oh, let me see. That's the only reason. Like, oh, crypto, crypto. That was
Yep.
literally the one-to-one relation. I wasn't doing shit with it. I didn't do nothing with that Bitcoin. I sold it for cash. I didn't care. I wasn't doing it anymore. That was 2017 was the top for me. I was done from that point on because I was already doing market shit. I didn't
A
need
lot of
crypto.
people just get out too at that point, man.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
crazy that you even came back. Cause
yeah. But it was because of RH.
wow,
Because like it was one of those long form streams too.
I
And
love
he was
those
talking,
videos, man.
yeah, and he was talking about Hex and all that. And I started doing my little research, and I was like, oh shit! Within 30 minutes, bro, I was buying because I already understood the basics. I just had to figure out exactly what the fuck staking was, and that took forever because nobody could just tell me in finance parlance what the fuck it was. So I had to figure that shit out myself by asking a million questions, trying to probe
Right.
and all this shit and figure the math out and all that. And everybody kind of saw that process, but everybody didn't really get the crypto shit. The crypto shit I knew, like
Yep.
how crypto's working, or like that famous first video. That shit, that's basic to me. But people do not know that. They
Right.
don't
Right.
they don't know that this shit is just software and that as long as motherfuckers is engaging the network, they buying, they staking, this thing is going up. End of discussion. Have a nice day.
So I mean, that's as clear as day. If you look at the picture, I mean, you look at the chart, you zoom out, you see it, and you're like, no matter what point in time, typically, if you stake, you end up with more hex. Like that's all it is, right? You end up with more hex. At the end of the
That's
day, you
one
stake, you
facet.
end up with more hex.
That's one facet. What about the fact that you end up with more USD too?
That's what draws everyone. That's
Yeah,
that we got the hook right here, and that motherfucker, fucking hook, line, and sink type deal. If you're a fisher,
right.
that's that one that you see the USD appreciation. You're like, you did what with that money? You turned a
Right,
thousand into a million? Like
right,
what the
right,
fuck?
right.
That's
But
final one. But at the end of the day, like you end up with more hex, and like
correct, correct, and that's what
that's
people
what
want to
caught
see.
me.
Yeah, and that's what people want to see. You know,
Yeah, I
people
was like,
want to
I
know
don't
there's
want to
gonna be
get
ROI. People want to know all the things that we want. You know, like nobody wants to come and waste their time, but at the same time, I think people need to realize that if they're not careful, they could fall into a sandpit.
facts.
You know, and this is where we're at now, and this is one of the reasons why I. That's the main reason why I continue to stream because I
Mm,
realized that people really were not educated like me and RH are. I'm not like RH. I'm a different fabric, right?
right,
I'm a different cut of fabric. I'm not like him. My knowledge base is different.
right.
But when it comes to crypto, the understanding is somewhat equivalent, right?
So I mean, you said it best. The motherfucker doesn't bullshit,
Hmm.
and that's what I when I listened to him in the beginning, it just you hear it. You can
That's right.
literally hear it. You're like, I
Not
don't
rocket
care.
science, bro.
Look, I don't care what he's saying. I mean, I don't care what he looks like. I don't care what he's talking like how he's saying it. It's the what he's saying true.
Right. Well, you know what? To your question, I think that's what draws us people in. You know, the nurse types, the
Mm,
military types, the those that just are out here trying to do the right thing. In short, because if you think about that base level of people, what's the common denominator? We're just trying to do the right thing. We're not out here trying to be fucking around.
right.
We're
No,
not.
I don't. No, none of us have time for that, dude.
But
I
this is
definitely know
why
I
we
don't.
join the military and do shit like that. Because why join the service? I could have done anything else to become a mechanic.
Mm,
Right,
facts.
I could have anything else. I might have been, might have been in my head at the time, but I could have fallen into anything else. So why the military? Something called me that way. Whatever it is, I don't know. Whatever, easiest, whatever. But even yet and still, right, we have a certain type of demeanor, a certain type of character, right?
Mm,
All of us do, and that's the point. Nobody just joins the service. I mean, you out here putting your life on the line every day for real. It's not a joke. It's not like you a cop. You're doing it for real.
right.
It's not like you a cop. It's nothing like that
No,
because
exactly.
you got no control. No, here when you a cop, you can quit. Ain't no contract. You know, you know what I'm saying? Ain't no fucking stops or pauses on that shit. My
Nope.
man, I did an extra 6 months out there just because a motherfucker that I don't know that didn't give a fuck about me felt like it.
Yep.
Straight up.
Dude, I
That's
saw
that
so
jail
many
shit.
people fucking stop lost on the. I saw so many people stop loss
Yo,
whenever I
word
was.
up. That's what it's called.
Yeah, yeah. Whenever, yeah, dude. I saw so many people stop loss and it was fucked, dude. I was like, this is I saw some people get like pulled back, like, and those motherfuckers I didn't want next to me because like they've been out the
Right,
game for
right, right,
3
right.
years. You know, they're like,
Typically,
hey,
yes.
yeah, like I
That
don't.
was the
You
rare
ain't been in
case.
this shit for the last fucking like 3 years. Like you've been
They don't
on
even give a
civvy
fuck.
life. Like I don't
Hmm.
want you next to me, man. And yeah, it was fucked, dude. It was definitely fucked. But yeah,
Yeah,
that stop loss is some
it's
straight
tough to
BS, man.
be in the field with a dude that isn't trying to survive.
Right,
And
right.
this is kind of what I feel like when I'm out here doing crypto. Because I take this shit seriously,
Yeah,
right? I
I
mean,
do too.
look at where we're at. You know, like they're literally trying to say you cannot have the freedom to transact. That's what the message was today. And I don't really think people get that. Like, I am not getting that feeling from the crypto community at large. I don't see it. I don't think
Mm,
people even understand it. I think they're too busy focused on, oh, is PulseChain coming out? Or, oh, what are the regulators doing? What are they saying? What can we do? Fucking dumbasses. That's not even crypto shit. Right? You just got a whole fucking mess out here when it comes to the space. Because
right.
you got this amalgamation of thoughts on fake crypto.
Mm.
That is not real crypto, and people just don't know.
No, and that's I mean, dude, fuck. Look at Safe Moon, whatever bullshit. Like, you
Right.
look at that guard,
All the scams. All
dude.
of them.
They literally brought back a scam. People bought it up again. I'm like, how do y'all motherfuckers just fall for this again? Like, and then you try and then you just try pointing them in even the direction of a good crypto, and they're like,
Right.
no, that one's a scam, and you're like,
Yeah.
you will
Like
buy
they
everything
know.
else but the scam, like you will buy everything else, all the scams, but the one that's not. Oh, okay, okay, all
It's
right,
just wild,
bye.
man. I mean, we're out here trying to again do the best that we can to give people the right information to do the best that they can. Because in reality, Nobody wants to be working for somebody else. Now, sure, some people might be comfortable doing that, and that's okay. But we're talking about the people that are not comfortable doing it. Those
Yeah,
people,
exactly.
none of them want to be doing it. But the problem for a lot of them is that they don't know how to take that step and across that bridge. Perhaps that first step
Mm,
is daunting. I remember when I first tried to invest or tried to learn to
okay.
invest. Right? I mean, this was 15 years ago at this point. I didn't know nothing. I'm out here buying stocks, buying and selling FX. I had no clue what I was doing. Right? I'm just out here
Right.
pissing in the wind. I don't know. But this is how you
Don't even
learn.
know which way the wind's blowing.
I didn't even know how to use the internet right at the time. Never mind what I'm doing online trying to buy and sell any fucking thing. I didn't
Right,
even know you
right,
could short stocks. You know what I'm saying? Like I was
right.
such a
I
pleb.
feel. I feel.
But that's how we all start out. You know?
That is an interesting point. Like everyone has to go through that journey. So, what do you think on this? Then, what do you think on someone like everyone has to go through something that causes this moment of a mistake, right? So you went through some stuff in 2017 before then, right? Everyone's had that moment in time where they've gone through their mistakes, right? I know
Yeah,
some
for
people
sure.
got screwed over on sexes, for example, or centralized exchanges. Some people
Right.
got screwed over, getting into rug pulls. Some people got all these different things that happen. Do you think that is a necessary moment in crypto? Like, is it best to almost just get that shit out the way as fast as you can, and like figure
Actually,
out how you get
yes.
fucked the fastest, and then get into
Well,
some good shit?
I'll put it to you like this. A lot of us have no so I'm okay, not to shill my own shit, but there's this whole process that we must go through. Now, I personally did not have the proper upbringing when it comes to money. But that's
Right,
because we didn't have money to spare. There was nothing to fucking upbring me on. You know what I'm saying?
right,
So I had to learn the hard way, right?
right,
How to do the right things, what are the wrong things, what are the right things. Because, first thing you do is trash your shit.
right.
Most
Always.
people, on average, that's what they do, trash their shit. The banks aren't helping you. Nobody's teaching you when you're coming out of high school. You have no concept of financial responsibility in most cases. The average
Right.
person just doesn't have it. And until I got to college, I didn't realize. And this is, and what I mean by I didn't realize is I had already been in the military, been to war a couple times, all types of
Yep.
shit, right? But living when you out there, you're not thinking about money. You're trying to survive, so you're not even living as a human being. You have no concept of what living in a civilized society is. I mean, when I got back the first time, I had to relearn how to use a washing machine. I couldn't fucking remember. How crazy is
I
that?
feel, dude. I know exactly what you're saying. Like all the
Yeah, I
same
mean,
stuff. I
fuck,
know
I don't
it.
gotta. Yeah, well, yeah, I don't gotta tell you. I'm sure you fucking did your time. You can only imagine.
Yep.
Right? Because this was eons ago. There wasn't no internet. There was none of that. None of the fancy stuff that they had later on. It just didn't exist out there when I went.
Right.
And that's the only reason I mentioned it. It was really hard living. But either way, you learn from that, right? And that's the whole point. I took that time and all that time where I was living, I wasn't understanding what I was living. That's kind of what drove me in this direction. Because I went to school and I ended up switching what I thought I wanted to do into this
Mm.
because of what I had lived. All that shit is related. And
Mm.
it took me this way. And I'm fortunate enough to be around at this point in time because we're going to be the next trillionaires. We are.
Agreed.
We're, yeah, we're so early that people cannot wrap their head around it. They're too busy trying to make a few X's now just to sit back and wait and really never have to do anything ever. Look at what government is doing.
Mm.
What do you think that means? If you've been around the block a couple times, then you know what that means.
Well, I mean, so yeah, definitely do. And it basically, they're gonna have full control to do whatever, right? Control whether you can buy
Depends.
something at a grocery store. Control,
Yeah, it depends though.
hey,
It
did
depends.
you get the vaccine or did you get the jab? If you didn't get the jab, then you can only spend $100, like all that shit. And that's just to put it like in a very easy to explain way. That like that's so basic level to even think about that too. And it gets even crazier as to like what they can control and that kind of stuff. God forbid you owe money to taxes, they can just siphon that right out. Like all this stuff, all of it comes out.
Right, but here's the thing, right? We got to understand the amalgamation that makes that system up, and this is kind of what I've been trying to educate people on, right? Because it's not it's just one thing to be like, oh, money this, money that, money this, money that. First of all, we don't even use money,
Right.
so we got to recalibrate that frame of thought because it's completely wrong. We use monopoly money, meaning
Mm,
fake money. We use currency.
right.
That's what we really use, right? And I know I even use the term money, but it's like I'm not gonna sit here and be fucking nitpicky 100% of the time with everybody because I'm already nitpicky enough. You know, I gotta pick and choose my battle. Like I be drawing lines, I be dividing the community. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta pick and choose. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right,
I gotta
right.
pick and choose because yo, this crypto shit is serious to me. This is
Yeah.
not a joke. I'm not here to be famous. I don't give a fuck about that.
Right.
I could have raped the community if I wanted to, and I was like, nah, I'm good, bro. Thank you though. I
Right.
appreciate the thought, but I don't need to do that, cause at the end of the day, what's gonna get this motherfucker blowing up is people actually coming in here buying that shit, not giving me money. I don't need the money, But what ended up happening though, what we ended up seeing was this whole conglomerate of people just creating all these coins out of nowhere with no utility.
Mm,
Right? I mean, and look, there's nothing wrong with you creating a coin as long as it has a specific purpose. But I'm talking about the ones with no specific purpose,
right.
right? And a meme coin is a meme coin is a meme coin. And if their angle is to be that, not even competing. But
Right.
if your angle is Hex's angle, then you're kind of competing, right? And we know those coins and which coins they are and stuff like that. But point is, you know, if you're gonna be verbally attacking the king, you best not miss.
Mm.
You know
Facts.
what I
I
mean?
mean, that's as simple as it is. Well, so going back to the idea that the government, everything that they got going on, right? We'll just leave it like that with what they have in store, what they have planned, what they have lined up. It comes down to also, you mentioned like, we may be quick just to move the fuck out, right? But all these people are put in place by by us, which is the dumbest thing ever.
Well, I mean that's an interesting thing, right? Because yes and no.
Okay.
Because we can stop it, but we choose to just sit back and do nothing. Because I won't agree and say that we put anybody anywhere. Because I know we're
I don't
not.
put in, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, number one, we can see what they're doing with the elections.
Right.
Like, so we ain't doing anything. You know what I mean? So what we need to be doing is going to these courthouses, going to these state assemblies, going to wherever we got to go locally to put these motherfuckers in check and let them know that we know what the fuck they're doing. Because they think
Exactly.
we don't because we just home chilling, not doing shit.
Right.
Everybody waiting on Trump to do something. I don't know why. When all you got to do is team up, community level, go to your local whatever and be like, yo, homie, we see you.
Mm.
That's gonna spook the fear of God in them because they think nobody sees them. And they right there around the corner from your crib. Yeah.
Right, right,
They doing all the
right.
dirt in your face. They not hiding, yo. That's is why.
Well, and that's another reason, man. It's like you go out there and you try to fight back against this,
Hmm.
it's like we're David and they're Goliath type deal, and
Yeah,
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 you can take
yeah.
them down eventually, but it's a battle, and that battle is one fought with many bloodshed, if you will, right? Without the
Yeah.
figure of actual blood in this scenario, but like getting locked up on something stupid, for example, like a VPN, like that's the dumbest
Right.
shit ever. It's the dumbest shit ever. But they don't know what else to do.
Right.
And people who go out and try to fight a battle, and they're like, oh, well, just look into this person now.
Right. I mean,
And
look at what they're doing. Hold on. Not to get political, but damn, let's talk about what these people have been
oh,
doing
go ahead, go for it, man. It's good.
just to their main optical target, which is Trump. Ever
Mm,
since that guy became a political thing, he's become public enemy number one.
yep.
Right. Everything that's happened to that guy from a political aspect has been a first from a political standpoint.
Right.
Like the other day, first president to ever get indicted, first president to ever get his tax returns pulled, first president for this, first president for that, first president to get impeached twice and not really get impeached. You know what I'm saying? It's this whole spectacle, and people sit there and watch and then wonder why it doesn't stop because you watching, motherfucker. Maybe if you stop engaging this shit,
Right.
and they get a zero view, they understand that they're not having any impact. But if you're still enjoying the show, Well, you're giving them what they want,
Mm.
and they're gonna continue.
Well, and the
Because
more that people talk about it, it's like
yeah,
good or bad. It's that publicity, man. It's like if you talk about it, you publicize it, man. Like,
correct. But that's the whole thing, right? They kind of want that,
yeah,
right? And it's like it's on us to say, yeah, we don't really care. Good luck with that,
right,
and this is the thing that I think is hardest for people because guess what? Where I work at, well, they keep CNN on the TV or Bloomberg or whatever, one of these lamestream media channels,
right.
right? Where that all they're doing is pitching lies, especially if
Mm.
you of age. Like if you over 25 or over 30, you probably got full well an understanding that all they do is lie. I mean, how many confirmations do you need in one lifetime? I don't know, but I'm expecting that by this
You
age
gotta
you got
you gotta have that mentality to also be open to when you see it,
sure, sure, sure. That's a fact. That's a
right?
fact. But if you don't see it, then I just know where you at. That's all.
Right. Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean,
Yeah, if you don't even bother to see it, then you're like,
yeah. I mean, look. After 2020, bro, I'm sorry. I just putting you in one bucket and ignoring you if you just don't get it by now. Like, I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't give a fuck. Like, we went through all that because of people like them. We gonna
yeah,
make sure that they don't matter in the future. That's my whole goal. I got nothing else to do in my lifetime.
right, right, right,
Like, I never ever thought after serving in the military, I would see some shit like that.
right.
I mean, you got to think about this. I remember, now, I don't know if you remember your time in your first days out there, but I remember every time I get deployed, or I got deployed, the first thing that always stood out to me were the wash your hand signs every fucking where. What was the
All of it.
first thing that went up after this bullshit popped off in 2020? What was the first things you saw go up everywhere?
Wash your hands.
Goddamn right.
Hmm.
And that's just making this a combat zone, sir. So
Hmm.
I've been in combat for the past 3 fucking years while everybody else been twiddling their thumbs and jerking off their dicks.
Hmm. Yeah,
This
you
is a
start
fact
seeing
in
some of them
America.
same shit. You're like, that
Yeah,
looks like exactly what. Hold up. What?
yeah, yeah,
Holy
bro.
shit.
I'm never gonna
Man, you
forget it.
say it like that. Goddamn. Now it makes me
Yeah,
almost like,
dude, you got it.
damn.
Yo, one week I'm at work, you don't see that shit on the mirror when you go into the bathroom. You use a motherfucker. The next week you walk in and it's like slap in your face.
Yeah,
And
they
I
got it
mean,
on the door. They got it on the
yeah.
sinks. They got
I
it
mean,
like,
yo, for people like us that are tired of seeing that shit already, it's gonna stand out because
right,
we've been deployed.
right. No, I remember just, you land and it's just, the bottles of water, the heat, because you go out there and
The
it's fucking,
sanitizer,
yeah, the sanitizer, like, the motherfuckers just passing out
dust
sanitizer, like, left and
everywhere.
right.
Like,
Just, and you're like, this is,
yeah,
this is what it is? Like, okay,
yeah,
cool.
and
Then you
and
go out to the fobs, then you be sitting there and
you just
you
out
ain't got
there.
shit.
Yeah, you just out there. We
You
could
just
talk
out
about that
there.
for days, not even hours,
Facts,
because
facts
you
on
just out
facts.
there. Yeah, I've been 70 kilometers from Iran.
Damn,
70 kilometers, bro. I could smell that motherfucker.
damn,
Yeah, you know how crazy that shit is? I
damn.
mean, we just out here poking all kind of bears, and motherfuckers don't get it. They don't get it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we poke bears. We set up. We're like, hey, we're gonna come here and just set up bases.
Look, at the place that I was at, this is how bad it was because we wasn't supposed to be
Oh,
there. In short, that's because we
right,
was real close to Iran, as I just said.
right.
Fucking the Taliban was getting paid to let us run routes. There was no other way for that to happen because when we didn't pay, what did I see?
Mm,
Recon dudes coming back lit up.
mm,
Unfortunately, yeah. And you would hear them talking. That's how I know because they're clear. It's just every day to them. So they're
right.
just screaming pissed. Somebody to fucking pay. You, somebody shot, bro. They pissed. They
Yep.
fucking going off the rails because one of their
Yep.
homies is down. And this is how you hear
Facts.
these things, and this is how these things happen. And unfortunately for us that live it, we sound like madmen to those that are here and have no clue.
Correct.
But they're the ones that have perspective and knowledge and the dignity to tell us. Man, fuck you. You don't got a goddamn clue, motherfucker. Actually.
Oh shit, dude! I absolutely, man. I love that's what I'm so glad you're here. For real, for real. I'm so glad to have you on the show. You've always been dropping facts. You've always been dropping knowledge and just being real. Just a real motherfucker, dude. I absolutely love that. So appreciate what you do and everything you do. Finbear even asked, "Who is this Wales only person?" I had to, I had
Appreciate
to
it,
throw
man.
that out there.
I appreciate, I just it's like this thing where I'm like, why don't people see what's in their face?
Right.
Because it's like none of this is hiding. And it's like I get nobody wants to deal with friction because I don't either. But yo, this is the kind of friction that if we don't deal with it, we gonna wish we did.
Mm. Oh yeah, and the more you let it go to the side and act like it's not a big deal,
Yeah,
the more people continue to push. And then the more
yeah,
you think, okay, well now they went one step further, but I'm gonna let this slide, and then they go through and
correct.
take another step, and like they ain't like just because you let it slide doesn't mean they're gonna stop.
They're
Like
not gonna stop. In fact, they're
that,
gonna
yeah,
ramp up.
exactly. So I'm right there with you, right? Bear, same story recorded, done, done, told you. So I got yeah, exactly. Yeah, you done told you done told
Yeah.
everybody. I love Wells Only intro. If y'all ain't seen it, guys, go subscribe to Wells Only if you haven't already. If you're subscribed to me and not him, you're crazy. You're doing things backwards. Let me just say that right from the jump, right? But
You a fool, bro.
yeah, I appreciate. So of course, like we got some concerns about CBDCs. So let me just
All
ask,
right,
what are the
let's talk about
benefits
that.
of HEX, Pulse Chain, Pulse X, and what are the concerns about CBDC, and what kind of do those two things like bring together?
Yeah, it's kind of this is kind of what I've been trying to tell people or warn people about. I guess since I started streaming, really, because it wasn't
Yeah,
it
right
wasn't
away.
much of yeah, it wasn't really much of a time gap when I first streamed about it. I was just working my way to it,
Yep.
and here we are at the point in time where they're ready to drop it like next week or something.
Right.
And the question becomes, well, are we gonna just wake up one day and not have dollars in our bank account? And I think the answer to that is yes.
Agreed.
So the question is, what's changing? And I think that's what's hard for us to answer because what I know about the system is as follows. I know the SWIFT system is a messaging system, and what that means is banks send messages to each other
Right.
stating they did this, they did that, and that's the record. That's like the ledger entry, and they take that, and then that's how they put it in their books. That's the ledger entry, and all that carries all the way up to the amalgamated balance sheet, income statement, cash flow statements, right?
Right.
So that's basically how it works. Long story short. Um, so are they gonna just rip the guts out, proverbially speaking? Because of course it's just a messaging system, right? It's not like there's anything to do. So are we just gonna see like a new software interface that they're gonna give the banks to use? I mean, like is nothing really changing except for the fact that that the Fed's gonna have the ability to turn on and off dollars, or like we don't know what that specific
I mean, essentially, they
nexus.
can already do that too. But yeah.
Well, what they can, this is how they can do it. Let me tell you how they can do it. How they can do it is by getting regulators to hit up a bank and the bank and tapping the bank and saying, "Hey, bank, put a red flag on this person's account." I'm literally looking at my work desktop shit right now. That's literally what it's called, bro. A red
Mm.
flag. When they red flag your account, that means the only thing you can do is liquidating transactions, meaning withdraw cash or sell stock and shit like that. And that's if you're lucky and they let you do anything.
Right.
Done. If you're skewered and they don't even let you do that, then good luck. Right?
Wow.
But that's worst case scenario. That's if you got the feds on you for some real hot shit. Where they're gonna
Mm.
freeze your account. That's complete. Like I've not seen that yet.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So
So, I mean, okay. So then, where does true DeFi come into that picture?
right. So for now, we have the ability to transfer value into crypto. I don't know if CBDC will change that. Nobody knows.
Mm.
And that's one thing that I think should put pause in people if they're not thinking about it because you should
Mm.
be, realistically speaking. What's gonna allow you to be able to take care of what you got to take care of if you can't make no moves. You know, the
Right,
freedom
right,
to
right.
transact is what they're trying to limit. They're already trying to take the freedom for you to live, survive, exist. Like, I don't know what it's gonna take for people to fucking react, but good luck to us, I guess. I don't know, bro. It's getting crazy. Like people just chilling, man. They just out here chilling. They're not worried about nothing. I don't know what to tell you. It's the craziest thing.
Yeah, it's one of those again, like the battle. You got to pick and choose the battles,
Yeah,
and unless you got a group of a collective individual or a group of people who can really put up that battle, it's
like
tough.
you really need resources to fight this battle.
And
You know.
so that's what I see, our community growing into the people who will be the people fighting the battles. But again, this is 5, 6 years down the road. We're not
Right, right,
talking.
right.
It's not going to happen,
It's
by
not gonna be
overnight by
immediate.
any means. We don't just
Yeah.
talk on Telegram and then all meet up the next day.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right.
but I would say what I do find that again, like I see us as a collective who are like, guys, this is true DeFi. You're misunderstanding every concept that you can possibly imagine, and you try to fix shit that doesn't need fixing, right?
Right,
Or you try to fix it, but you do it the wrong way, and
right.
you
I
actually
know.
handicap.
Right,
Yeah, and so like that's the issue where they try to come out with these rules and regulations, and instead of just saying like, hey, don't sub, don't ban, like you said, put the red flags on the North Korean accounts, they're just like ban it, and then like
yeah,
okay,
done.
they don't know how to do anything, they have no clue, so that's all they can do for now. But we'll be putting that battle up, and I know we got people in the community's growing. You got professional athletes, you got sports figures, sports stars, actual actors and actresses who are out there.
Right,
And we're just growing. Like this is the
yeah,
beginning, guys. We're what, 3 years in? Like that's nothing.
right. And this is what I think is hard for people to wrap their head around, and that's why I try to talk that long time frame. Like it's already been 3 years
Mm,
already. I
mm,
mean, before we know it, it's gonna be 5. And I mean, I just think people don't realize that time just does not stop. It just goes on. And because of that, you really have to be cognizant of your time, what you're doing, what your goals are, and that you're meeting them. Because before you know it, Hex is not going to be under $1.
mm.
And then what are you going to do? You're going to be mad. So,
But even then, there's still so much room for growth. It's so funny. Like it's the same concept as like where you in below a penny, and then you have it at
Mhm,
10 cents, and
mhm.
then you have it at $1, and then it's still,
Sure,
But yeah,
sure.
the
But
gains are less.
yeah, but that's exactly it. I don't know about you, but I want all the games. I
I
don't want some
know.
of them, man.
I, Wales done told you, folks.
I
Like,
told you.
look. Hold on. So, like, let me ask this thing, because you've been in this Hex ecosystem for a hot minute, and yet you still fucking with the job. Like,
That's
what's
right.
up?
I'm still planning to, I've been thinking about this shit for a while. Like,
Yeah, for
should
sure.
I
I know you
retire after
have.
Pulse Chain or not? Because I've been, it's possible, probably. And I've decided that there's no way. I'm going to have to DCA for 2 years before I even think of that. That's where I'm
Mm,
at.
mm.
Because the opportunity, like, we're so early. We're too
Right,
early. We're too early. We're just too early. And I didn't realize how early we were when we started doing anything in 2021. I just didn't realize how we're just super duper early.
right.
This is the internet in the 90s. Like the internet didn't take off until 2000 something.
Mm. Now I feel that. Yeah, washing your hands was turned into a fear ritual.
That's right.
There you go, Tim Bear. Says it right there.
That's right.
Of course, guys. Yeah, share, like, all the good stuff. Make sure everyone has the ability to watch all this information. But yeah, guys, this is fire, dude. I absolutely love the conversations that you bring onto the table, and we're gonna probably go on much longer than I even anticipated because we've already reached an hour, and that fucking
Damn.
just
Sure
fucking
did.
blink, dude. And I've seen you
Yeah.
do like the 3 hour streams, and I'm like, I get it. Like I love the 3 hour streams. I'll watch them. You know what I mean? Like that's
It's a
just
lot of
fire.
information, bro. That's the thing.
Right.
You
It's
know?
tough to get through all the information too, right? And
Yeah.
so that's what's tough about all this. But let's see if we can just kind of knock out. I got a couple of questions, right? Let me
Sure,
just
let's
have
do
some
it.
fun here. So, what are some common myths and we'll say misconceptions that you see about our community, Hex, PulseChain, and PulseX that you'd actually just go ahead and like debunk right now?
That everybody is smart in the community because they're not. Definitely not. Yeah, that's why you rolling, because you know it's true. You knew I was gonna say that shit too, didn't you?
Oh shit! I did. It'd be something great, man. It's just, everyone be thinking they absolutely know everything about everything. So
Yeah, and I really thought, but like I told you at the beginning, I thought that's what was going on over here. Like, oh, because RH, in my mind, he sets the tone. But what
right.
I didn't realize is, following comes in many forms.
Mm,
That's what I didn't realize. So it's been a
mm.
learning lesson for me. Cause if I would have known, I would have never done anything. I don't need to be a YouTube personality. You feel me? Like,
Right.
it's
Right.
cool to do it. I like educating people. I enjoy educating people because even when I'm not streaming, people are asking me questions, and guess what? I'm fucking answering. So it's not like it bothers me.
Right.
So it's just whatever. I'm just doing what I can. I'm doing what I think makes sense with what's going on, and I'm trying to just figure it all out. Just like everybody else, because I'm trying to make my impact just like everybody else is. I'm not. I'm not trying to be. Uh, I'm trying to be value add at all times, and people
Mm.
do not like that. People don't like that.
That's true. That's
Yeah,
true.
they don't like that.
And typically it's one of those things. If you, it's a funny thing, but if you actually like Richard Hart, if he had done a paywall behind sci-fi, for example, I
Right.
bet you that would have been the most read book in the community. I bet you in some weird censor
Yeah.
form. I mean, shit,
That's
I don't
so
even know what I
fucking
did with
funny
my.
because it's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know what I did with my book, but the Hex book by like Matt Groban, or I forget his exact name, but that Hex book, I bet you probably has been read more
Right.
than sci-fi. Which you look
Right.
at it and you're like, sci-fi is so much better.
Yeah.
But they again they put that behind a paywall,
Right.
and people are like, oh, I'll pay.
Yeah. And then the thing about it is like even when I'm not out here trying to sell nothing, and I think that for a lot of people in this space now, it's hard for them to wrap their head around that because they're used to being sold.
Right,
Right? Like everybody's trying to sell them something, man. And I get it. I'm not hating on anybody selling anything because we all got to eat.
right,
But at the same time, what are you selling? Because if you're selling trash, then you a problem. You're not helping nobody but yourself.
right.
So figure it out. Because I'm gonna fuck your shit up, right?
For
Because I'm not gonna
sure.
not put out the info. Because if you think about it, nobody has to go anywhere. All they gotta do is go and watch all my streams. Everything they need to know is there.
That's it. That's it. We've said this before. Everything can be figured out with just enough time and enough
Yeah.
research and enough, really diligence if you want. Because like
Right.
we got, I mean, how many content creators in our ecosystem? Hundreds.
Oh man. I
I
mean,
mean,
we could have multiple TV networks run
right,
24/7. And I don't think people
right.
understand that. They don't I don't think people get that, and again, all of it might not be top quality, but it's quality, right? Relative
Right.
to what else is out there, we are everything in crypto. I mean, like who else is streaming about crypto?
No one. I mean, the people who are just trying to,
About
promote that
Bitcoin
meme
or
coin, for example.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. Like in reality, it's just Hexicans, and it's been us this whole time.
And I don't know, so I have a tough time because it's like now that I've ingratiated myself into this world, into this community, into this, ecosystem, it's tough because now I don't see any community out there really doing anything. But I don't know if it's just because I'm so involved now within our ecosystem, like everyone I follow on Twitter, everyone I listen to on YouTube, like all that stuff that I have popping up. I look through my scroll and it's just like, oh, more Hex content, more PulseChain content. Let me
Right,
click
it's
that one. Let me
nonstop,
click that one. So I
ain't
don't.
it?
I'm like, but are there other communities that even get close? Like, not
Nah,
like.
not really.
I,
Not really.
I like you talk about the Bitcoin community is probably the closest because they had the Bitcoin maximalists
Right, but
and
but when you look at them, they don't have a community. They got just people all
mm,
over the place that just
mm,
stream about Bitcoin, if that, along with a bunch of other stuff.
right.
It's very few people that all they talk about is just Bitcoin, and that's the difference.
Yep.
All right, I think that's a big difference that we gotta highlight, or just Ethereum. Like, there's not anybody just doing those two things. I don't think.
Wow.
Very few people. I mean, we just talk about our sole ecosystem. I mean, we only talk about PulseChain and PulseX because they're being made for Hex.
Right, right, right. No, and that's okay, so let me I you've said this before, and you don't talk about pulse chain. You don't bring that hopium, which is good. I'm a hopium dealer, man. I'm the hopium dealer myself. Shit, I got freaking hooked on it myself. You know what I mean?
I
I'm
dealt too much
like, you know what I
opium,
mean?
man, into that
Like,
top, bro. That was
boy,
not a
like
good
hook
look.
me up. You know what I mean? And that's why when like before January came around and Richard Hart started even talking about pulse chain again, I was back in that mindset. Like, we launch when we're ready. We launch
Right,
when we're ready. And then he
right,
started coming out with an update once a week, and I was like, this is pretty interesting. Let me just talk
right.
about it. And of course, by me just talking about it, I ended up getting freaking hooked again myself. And then now I see stuff like, V3 testnet final warning, and V3 testnet final warning again, and now it's V4, and it's just like, damn it, I got hooked on the opium, and now you got me sad,
Right,
boy. Like,
right,
I
right,
hate
right,
it.
right, right, right. Yeah, rough. It's rough. It's rough, right?
It
Because
is
you just
rough.
wanted to
It
drop,
is.
and of course, everybody wants to see the end result. But I think what's hard for us to accept is the fact that RH is not gonna step out without every button being tied, being buttoned,
Mm.
and every shoelace being tied, and every fucking crease being creased. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not
I,
stepping outside, half stepping. Like, he's just not gonna do it.
so we had a thing called MVP that when it all first launched, it was that minimal viable product,
Right,
right?
right.
I think we are so far past MVP at this point
Yeah,
in
I
time,
think that shit
personally.
flew out the window.
Yeah, that shit. We way past that
We
point
getting
now. Like, we
MVP,
gone.
full viable product,
Now, now
motherfucker.
he's yeah. Now he's wanting the 100% uptime, flawless operation. And I said this
Yeah,
before, way long ago. Like, whenever I first even started streaming, it was that same thing. Like, that's been one of his accolades that he's always said about
correct,
Hex.
correct.
And he, as a person
Yo,
who is Richard Hart, who people hate the man for just hating the man, which is the dumbest thing ever. He
yeah,
doesn't have the luxury of having it to where something has to be fixed.
yeah,
Because God forbid we have to fix one thing on Pulse Chain when it
yeah.
launches, the whole
It's game
community is
over.
probably just gonna, yeah, game over. His
Not even the whole community.
reputation,
Not even the whole community, but all the food rules are gonna have something to chew on for fucking years.
yeah.
Are
And
you
so,
kidding me?
so,
What?
so I'm with you, but like now that it's a project, man, like Pulse Chain won't be complete. It won't. It can't. It's a full layer one network. It's going to be
Right.
constantly
There's
improved
gonna have to
upon.
be some maintain. There's gonna have to be some maintenance of some
There
sort.
has to
That's
be
right.
maintenance. And
Yeah.
so like there's a certain point where I'm like, okay, like I get you want that 100% uptime, all of it. I get it. I know why you want it. I know it. But like a project that's a layer 1 is so different than product that's Hex.
Right. It is, and I
Like
think
Hex was the first completed product in
yeah,
crypto,
yeah, yeah.
right?
It's a completely different thing than we're talking about something like Ethereum, right? So it
Exactly.
can't be like Hex. It can't be complete,
It can't.
right?
It
And
cannot.
and what that means is that it's not gonna be. Well, how can I say it? It's software, right? So
Right.
because it's software, you're gonna have that first iteration, and that's what we're waiting on. But
Mm,
that first iteration has to be flawless in its own right. It can't be, you know, uh,
I
like
see what you're
you're
saying.
not gonna ever go half cocked, right? Like,
Right.
you going out on a date with a chick, you're not showing up, looking like you just got out the gym. You know what I'm saying? If you showing up to a work interview, you're gonna look
Oh
just like
shit.
that,
Right.
sniffy,
Right.
stiff. You're not ever gonna come out not shining. And I think that's the whole point, that RH is just gonna help people understand. Like, when this thing is done, the only thing we'll be doing is updating the most basic elements of the software,
Mm.
versus having to reconfigure, reconstruct, redesign, blah blah blah. Unless there's a need to, or a desire to do so, because the technology improvements are going to be so much better,
Okay.
right? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I think it's hard for us as normal people to really wrap our heads around the task at hand for RH, because we're not the ones involved doing it.
Right.
Now,
And I see
personally,
the devs active every
r-
day. I look
right?
at GitLab every day, and I'm like, these
Wow, I
motherfuckers
don't even do
are
that.
active. Like they're people too, right? They got lives,
For sure,
and
yeah.
yet they're over here doing the work to make it where eventually
Happen,
we're gonna get it.
yeah, to make it happen. Right. And you got to ask yourself, like, what does it take? It takes a lot. Like, I've been learning how to program recently.
Oh
And,
shit! Oh
well,
shit, boys and girls.
but here's the
Oh
thing.
shit.
There's a lot that goes into that,
Right. And
right?
it's easy to mess up too.
Yeah, oh, so easy. You already know. I mean, if a period is out of place, a comma, anything, a
Yep.
letter, forget about it. It's toast, and you got to figure it out, and hopefully you find it, right?
Well,
And
that's
hopefully,
why I have the I come from an IT background, so I'm
there
glad
you
to hear
go.
the work figuring out the program and that part of it. But it's one of those things like that's why the way I do stuff on my channel, you fix one thing at a time.
Hmm.
You can't just change 15 things all at once because that's just how you want to do it. You're going to
Yeah,
get
no,
wrecked.
yeah, it's not gonna work out.
Or you won't know what broke whenever something doesn't work correctly. You have to go through and either revert everything again. So you do things in a slow rollout, and
Correct.
that's kind of what we're seeing right now with PulseChain. And I'm okay with that part of it. The thing is, like, I almost want to go back to the no update.
Ah, yeah, right.
Because I think Hex, man. So let me know your opinion on this. How do you think Hex would have performed had Pulse Chain never even been a thing, or we never even decided to go that route? Like, how do you think? Where do you think? And again, it's tough to say. Like, where do you think Hex would
Mm,
be at in that
yeah,
regard?
that's a
But
tough one.
I think our community was almost personally, I would say, better off before Pulse Chain and
I
PulseX
agree.
were a thing because
Yeah, I agree.
you had the people who understood Hex and what it was about, whether they staked or held liquid, that didn't matter to me.
Nope.
But now that Pulse Chain became a thing, we introduced, another coin, which is cool. But again, you introduced that another coin and people got their focus distracted a little bit. And then the price of Hex is now heavily tied to any
Post
news
chain,
or
yeah.
release or anything happening with Pulse Chain. And that personally drives me crazy because I just want Hex to do its thing, man.
Yep.
It's fucking beautiful, man.
I agree. I mean,
And so,
I'm the guy when it comes to X. So post chain in my mind did nothing but fuck it up, and it's just
oh
because
shit,
people don't get it. That's
right,
ultimately what it is. I mean, this emotional trading is what we're seeing driving the market. I mean, right now, what's happening to the price is down because some people don't like the latest, tweets from RH.
right.
Literally.
Right. And that's what drives me like I and I've been saying this, whether good or bad news, I'm just like, man, I just want Pulse Chain to launch so Hex can go back to doing his thing. That's what I've been saying lately. Like I just because then people will get their freaking focus off Hex, and you'll have everyone just either chase a new shiny coin or whatever the case may be. It doesn't
Right.
really matter. But like, I just want Hex to go back to just being Hex. And granted, it's gonna have the four pillars of Richard Hart ecosystem, which is beautiful. But I would love it to where Hex can just go back and pump for its own reasons because it's a great fucking coin, not because Pulse Chain A is coming out tomorrow or Pulse like the tweets that like I don't know. I think Hex got hit so hard, and you said it best. Like you've always been Hex, and you said that in the very beginning. Hex is the one. It's the OG. It's the one that's
Yep.
gonna. It's the reason why Pulse Chain was built.
Correct. People got it
Um,
confused.
Yeah, everyone definitely has it confused. John Neese asks, "What is the most efficient way to buy Hex?" And again, we're not financial advisors. It depends on where you live. There's a whole bunch of other factors that go into like what's the most efficient way. So, do you just want to get into it right away? Do you want to like avoid centralized exchanges? Like, what is the actual question? I guess, John.
Yeah, but
Uh,
the hard one there is it depends where you live. That's the answer,
right.
honestly. Because if you live in a place where you can't even access a centralized exchange, and you're relegated to having to use some type of
Mm,
decentralized, pathway to get crypto, so that then you can get the hex.
right.
So, I think one thing that's hard for people to get their head around is just the fact that um you know you got to jump through a lot of hoops to get hex, right? And
Yeah.
that makes it something that people, especially normies, are like they get turned off when you got to jump through so many hoops because they don't understand it.
Right.
And the sad fact is that the more hoops you got to jump through, actually, the better the trade,
Mm,
because that means the more liquid that market is relative
right.
to everything else. And hex is. Because what do you see? Well, when you divide the volume traded versus the market cap or the actual market, Hex trades like fucking real estate, microscopic amount of the market trades relative to its actual size. Whereas if you look at Bitcoin and Ethereum, it's actual percentage value. You got something greater than 1%.
Right.
So it's a significant amount relative to Hex. And that's important to wrap your head around because this is exactly why hex can pump.
Okay.
You don't have a lot of it just floating around in the ocean like you do the other coins.
Correct. Yeah. And I and everyone, the argument that people say is ZOA controls, and but again,
Doesn't
like
matter.
everything is so
Doesn't
fucking
change the
centralized.
math.
Like,
Doesn't change the math. And
oh,
that's
and I
what I
think
don't
that's
get.
one thing that really caught my attention. Like, to me, math was math, and math has always probably been one of my favorite subjects in all reality. So it's funny that it all worked out, and it happened
Yep.
to work out that way.
Yeah.
But that's why I said when you get more, you get more hex. At the end of the day, you get more hex. Like, the math is you get more hex. Now, what that value of hex is in the future, you could be looking at a ridiculous number, and that could be very beneficial for you. But even if you didn't, you still get more hex than you did, and even if the price stayed stagnant, you get more than you would in like a freaking Social Security or
Right.
401k or
Right.
anything. So, like, to
It's
me,
still a good
that's
deal.
where it made a good deal to me, made perfect sense for me. I was like, look at everything, and then let
That's
me
right.
see if this
That base
does
case.
nothing, but I just stake it for 15 years and it does
Still winning.
nothing in price.
Yeah.
I'm still good.
Still winning. You're still gonna come out making a shit ton of money.
Yeah,
Like
you
it's
get you
crazy.
get you get two times more, your bag, so you would have actually gotten better than you would have gotten than
Yep.
like a Social Security, for example.
hmm And it's
All
crazy
right.
because it's just the way it works.
So John asked to be a little bit more specific. Cheapest way to Ethereum in order to swap for Hex on Uniswap or CalSwap never used.
Yeah, it depends where you live. Your best bet is to Google fiat on ramp because it depends where you live. We can't
Facts.
give you an answer. Like
Facts on
crypto
facts.
is decentralized. That's literally what that means. It means you got to figure it out. If somebody's telling you a pathway, that means they're setting you up for the kill. Straight up. Yeah, it's true.
Yo, that's so funny, man. They send you down a path, send you down a fucking alley that they already got the sniper set. That's
Yo, in Cryptoville, there shouldn't be any ref links. That's really only for
oh
legacy
shit.
side shit because that's where the system is.
Right,
There ain't no system here, so everybody's just trying to take what you got.
right.
It's the
Oh
Wild Wild
shit.
West over here for real.
Yeah, and again, like there's no perfect way to get in.
Nah, like you could like for
That's
the
what.
whoever that guy is, he can go to mexc.com. That's a decentralized way to be able to get crypto, ETH, easy.
Right.
It doesn't it's not just for ETH POW. They can get ETH there too.
Yeah, I just don't even. Oh man, it's so funny. There's
There's so
a
many
hundred
ways.
different ways to get into
Yeah.
DeFi, and it's just a way that makes sense for you. Now, again, you may not get the best possible entry, you may not get the best possible ratio, the best possible deal, but like when you're in and you're in for the long haul, the little fees that you pay in the beginning are so small and insignificant that, like, yes, you could have gotten, we'll say, an extra 20,000 hex on your bag if you had bought 150,000 through Uniswap, for example, instead of doing something else. But like that's one of those things that, like, in the grand scheme of things, when you look forward in the future, none of that matters. It's kind
None
of the
of it.
same concept that I have about people getting into PulseChain on day one or PulseX on day one, or even up to the first 2 years. Like you said, I say the first 6 months to a year personally. That's kind of what I say. Because I think if you DCA for that first fucking 30, 60, 90, 180, one
Yeah,
year
whatever
time
you
frame.
pick, I mean, I think you're gonna win, right? I agree
Right.
with you. I'm thinking 2 years. I just like long time frame because I work better that way, and I know the longer I put money into that motherfucker, man, the God will gonna be looking up to me. That's my point. You know what I'm saying? Like he might have the head start, but
Woo!
I'm trying to do it right.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
Hell
Yo,
yeah.
that's fucking fire right there, dude.
Yo,
God
I ain't
will gonna
playing
be
no
looking up to
games, bro.
you.
We already got two copies
Someone
of
asked,
Hex.
someone asked on this one, when Wales Banco.
Bah. You already got Hex. You don't need me to set up no bank.
Oh shit. All right, so let me get, yeah, dude. I fucking love this, man. So, like, what are some challenges? What are some opportunities that you foresee in our ecosystem? Right, like, what are some things that maybe catch your attention right now in either Hex, Pulse Chain, or even PulseX in the future?
Um, I think the big thing is just people understanding that we're early, because
Mm,
when you really look at the landscape, and when I say landscape, I'm kind of speaking of both real crypto, meaning the stuff you're talking about, and then the fake stuff.
right.
You know, we have all the alpha literally, and this makes it kind of difficult for us to accept, we treat it like if it's whatever. Like imagine all the people that have been out there putting their hard-earned income in trash coins and not getting any benefit from it, and then this whole time they should have just been buying hex,
Oof.
right? Like there's a
Oof.
lot of people like that,
Yeah.
and how do you combat that? You combat that with maybe having a law following like we do. Maybe people understanding like, yeah, that's what we need to be having out here. Getting more views, getting more clicks, more retweets, more like whatever the hell is required for
Right.
people to see that this is the thing. Because that's ultimately what it is. It's not much anything else. Because everybody's not gonna see RH. They'll find RH when they find them. I was lucky enough to come across him first. Most people don't.
Right.
You
You
know.
mean like most people don't come across in terms of like going into like our ecosystem, or
Yeah,
most people don't in terms of coming across into crypto?
both really.
Okay. Okay.
Right? Like think about it. Right? Think about it. If
Right.
you don't find him and you don't find one of us that are talking about the facts of crypto, then who are you finding?
Right.
Nobody. You
Yeah.
find the
Nobody.
liars, unfortunately.
Mm.
And then
Mm.
that's the sad truth. I mean, you can't I mean, the hardest thing for me to accept is anybody willing to treat them as if they're equal to us just because they're now joining the bandwagon. No, they're inferior, and they
Mm.
decided to lie for years on end. They know they're lying. Don't sit here and act like some furu that decided to switch up doesn't know they're lying.
Right. 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 You're right. Yeah. No. Not.
Don't think so.
Well, I'll call him out. Bitboy Crypto. I'm just gonna say it on that one for
Oh
from.
yeah,
I'll
all of
even
them,
say it.
bro. We don't even gotta name names. All of them.
I
They're
love
on,
it.
they're on
I
record.
named name on him because that motherfucker came through and he just came and oh, we're gonna put it on our portfolio now. Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's still
Shut
yet
the
to do it.
fuck
I'm
up.
sure.
Just keep saying you don't buy it. Like,
It's such a joke, and then it's just this. It's really disappointing when I see people in the community get excited about stuff like that. It's like, why are you getting excited about shit like that? Why do you even care?
right.
You owning the coin is what you should care about.
Well, and I'd much rather. I don't care about the influencers in that regard. I want the fucking big influencers. You know what I mean? Like that's whenever I'll get excited. But if you're talking a crypto influencer to another crypto influencer, and it's just a bigger one, eh, that doesn't really
Yeah,
get me the same level of excitement. But if I start
yeah.
seeing like good like I was talking about professional athletes, for example, like you had who was the Ravens guy who came on? I'm drawing a
Damn.
blank.
I'm
I'm drawing
losing
a
his
blank on his
name.
name.
I was just
Yeah,
thinking about him the other day
John
too.
Hill.
Joe Hill. Yeah, yeah,
Joe,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So he came on, and once I saw that, I was like, "Yo, this shit could get fucking crazy." Because then you're talking about someone with millions of dollars,
Yeah,
fam,
he lit.
and then you have, and then also like my mind goes into the next level of like, "Yo, people are getting their contracts paid in Bitcoin right now or
Right.
something." Like,
Yeah, there's a
imagine
couple
the day
guys
where
like that.
contracts are
Yeah,
paid
in
in
crypto.
hex.
Yeah, and I mean, imagine the day that you can just pick whatever crypto you want. You know what I'm saying? Because let's be honest, Hex is the best one, but there's other ones out there that we gotta contend with because they're just out there, and we
Right,
can't
right,
make them
right.
disappear, and people are gonna still think what they want to think, and that's okay. The gains are gonna speak for themselves, and they'll be like, "Damn, I fucked up," and we'll be like, "Yeah, we know, peace, nigga." You know what I'm saying? We're not even gonna look back. We're gonna be like, just peel off in that jet, man. We're not even gonna think twice. Like, try to tell you, bitch. You
We
didn't
out,
listen.
nigga. Peace. Dude, I fucking love that, man.
Had to pull a Dave Chappelle on him. We
Oh my gosh.
out,
All
rich
right.
bitch.
Yo, that shit's fire, fam. All
Yo,
right. So John once again asked, because he asked this in yesterday's stream with me and Westcott. He said, I need a deep dive answer. If we get a copy of our ERC20s, why not? If we get a free copy of our ERC20s, why not ratio trade them with ecosystem at launch or after? I know damn well you ain't fucking with ratio trading, but what do you got to say on that?
well, I'll say if you like the deal, be confident that you like the deal.
No matter what.
Like, yeah, I think you got to understand what you're doing when you're ratio trading. And I
I don't
just
think
think,
anyone has an understanding of what they're doing
yeah,
when it
I
comes to
don't
ratio
think people
trading.
do. Yeah, I think people think it's going to be something to make money on, and it's not. You got to understand that if you're swapping one coin for another, that's literally all you're doing.
Right. And
That's it.
and like I consider myself a fairly decent smart guy, but by no means do I have the intelligence to even consider that I would understand ratio trading.
Well, here's the thing. It's really simple, but I think that people don't understand what the objective is for them. Because at
Mm,
the end of the day, what are we trying to do? We are
mm,
trying to, achieve gains, basically, in short, right? We're not trying to do nothing fancy.
right,
So if you're not putting your capital where it's supposed to go, what happens? You lose it.
right.
And that's plain and simple, right?
It's true.
So if you don't understand what you're doing when you're swapping one thing for another, that's the end result, right? Like, say when everybody's expecting PLSX to be 3-1 to PLS,
Right.
right? What if that never happens and somebody's just there waiting and waiting and
Mm.
waiting and they don't get that 2.5 to 1 because they know 3 is coming, but 3 never comes and that shit just takes off. What
Yo,
then?
that's okay. So that's when greed comes in. That's
But
greed. That's
but
that's
here's the
that's
thing,
that's a
it's
sin right
all
there.
the same.
You know.
Because everybody's expecting the market to do A, B, C, blah, blah, blah. But you gotta just, you know, think cautiously. Because
Mm.
this is not the stock market. This is not the futures market. This is not the forex market. You can't see what's coming on the chart. It
Right.
just comes. Because when a
Right.
motherfucker press buy and that shit goes up 10x, that's just it. That's it. You don't got no warning, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think people
Oh
get that
shit.
shit. People don't get it. And if they're gonna learn that shit the hard way, here.
Right.
They are. Because I know what I'm looking for, and if I see it, I'll take it. If
Fair
people
enough.
go off sides, take advantage. Don't be
Right.
shy.
Oh, I mean, if it gets ridiculously stupid, you got to
Yeah.
understand that, like, yeah, I mean, sometimes doing a small bag, a small percentage of your bag, it's not like, as long as you're not trying to go freaking all in on the ratio, that's my
This is how
thing.
I would phrase it. If you got a coin that you want to get in mind, try to be smart about grabbing as many of those coins as you can. That's what you should be trying to do. Not
Mm,
trying to ratio trade per se, because you can't really trade what you can't see. And
right.
this is what I think is hard for people to understand. Like, we're swapping value for value. We're not really trading market, right? And I think people don't get that because they're seeing that USD on the screen. But
Right.
that USD is fleeting,
Right. Right. Right.
right?
No,
Like,
and
it's
I
fleeting.
I get that, and yeah,
Yeah.
USDC, and we've seen it before. There's talk about how it used to be the world reserve currency, and there's actually a whole spectrum showing that typically they only last about I think 92 years, if I'm not mistaken, to be a world reserve
Right.
currency, and
Right.
the dollar is currently sitting at like 97 years or something right now already at this point in time. So we've already kind of surpassed what the normal expectation is for
Well,
how
let,
long you
let
should be
me
a global reserve currency.
let me correct you a little bit there, because
Please,
there's a
please.
caveat. There's a caveat to it that's important to be addressed. That needs to be addressed. So what we've seen is the proliferation of central banking over the past 100 years.
Okay.
Okay,
Yep.
the Federal Reserve note only came to expand in the way that we know it from 1971 on forward. Prior to that point, it was really a
Mm,
slow process for them to destabilize the original financial system, because
mm,
even the notion of banking was foreign to people 150, 60, 70 years ago. Not normal.
mm.
People are typically, in the real world, not the world we live in, the real world, people self custody all their goods, all their valuables, right? I mean,
Yeah.
this is where the notion
Yeah.
of
To
a
keep
safe
the
comes from, vaults
yeah,
and stuff like that. I mean, they didn't just
keep the
come out
money in
of
the
nowhere.
mattress. All
Yeah,
that.
money under the mattress, all that stuff. That the shoebox money, all that. That didn't come from rich people. That came from
Mm,
everybody, right? Rich people just do what they do, whatever it is that they do. But here's a problem now. We don't really know anything about ourselves, about anything, and that's kind of a bigger issue that's at hand. That's a whole nother conversation. But
right.
at the end of the day, the whole notion of self custody is foreign to us because it's not how we're brought up to think.
Mm,
So when we run into crypto, that whole thing is brand new. And I think that that's what makes it difficult for people to understand that this is not like the stock market. We ain't doing none of that over here. This is
right.
this is really a one-to-one exchange, value for value. And the only difference is that once you swap over to this thing called Hex, you're gonna end up with more if you stake it. Whereas with a dollar, that was never gonna happen.
Right.
No matter what you did, unless you hustled it up or something like that. But that required effort. That you couldn't just make it happen. You know what I mean? That requires some elbow grease and all of that. You know.
Well, and that kind of comes down to like, are we going and flipping over to back to the CBDC comment? You know what I mean? That kind of thing where
Right.
that's kind of
Yeah.
rolling out. And, we're looking at, seeing that happen in our very near future, I'm sure. So yeah, I'm right there with you, and it's just a matter of seeing what's around and what's available. But like, what do you do to cope? How do you, man? The world that you live in has to be freaking wild because it's got to be just filled with fucking idiots,
Yeah.
and that's to put it bluntly, who won't even have the open idea of having a conversation with you. Because I know I've had conversations with people, especially like when you first get into a coin that you're excited about, you share it with everyone in like the silliest way that you can, right? You're not too knowledgeable about it. You don't know enough about it to like handle a conversation properly. And so sometimes when you end up talking to some folks who are like way into say stocks or whatever gold for, commodities, um, is that something that you see pretty big on the Wall Street side where they just, no matter what, they are so ingratiated in that, mindset that
Yeah.
like they just can't even fathom another
Yeah.
way?
Yeah. I mean, you got to understand, we're talking about a whole new monetary system,
Right.
right? People can't fathom that the dollar is not the end all be all. You know, for a lot of people, that's hard. Um, and the reason it's hard is primarily because nobody really wants to accept that, you know, something could change so drastically, really,
Right. Right.
right? Because that's a drastic thing, right? I mean, that's super drastic. It's not just something that happens every day. And that's kind of what gives people that pause that, like, is this guy crazy? What is he even thinking?
Right.
I mean, I know I sound crazy, but I did the math, so I know it's right. Like, you got to
Yeah.
understand, bro, I saw all this shit like 12 years ago, 13 years ago.
Right.
Like, how it was going to play out financially once I started learning all that. Because it's one thing to know the shit is a scam. It's a whole nother thing to be able to break it down like I've been doing. Everybody can't just do that. Everybody isn't even trying to do that.
Right. Well, again, it's how open is your mind at the time,
Correct.
and
Correct.
if your mind isn't even in the right state or vibration or however you want to describe it to even like see a different light, then at that point in time, it's just you're just talking to a wall at that point. No
Sure.
matter what you say, no matter what you do,
What?
there's no chance.
Uh,
And so, like, do you even bother with trying to help them anymore?
Nah, not really, man.
Like,
Like,
do you have a couple of buddies who you like, that you were you able to at least like, hey,
nah.
like here's what I'm in, here's what happened, or is that even like
Like,
you don't fuck with it?
like you'll tell, like, if one asks, you tell them, you know, but you can't impose knowledge on people. And
Right.
this is something I've had to learn as a streamer because that's what I was kind of trying to do.
Mm.
And you know,
I
I
like
remember,
that.
yeah, I remember really thinking this whole time that people were staking, and yo, they definitely weren't. And you know, we all learned that shit, right? We all learned that shit.
Oh, yeah, we're all
'Cause,
safe, 100%.
yo,
My average is 15 years, 11
I
years.
wasn't tracking liquidity. I wasn't doing a whole bunch of shit until after that top.
Oh shit.
You know, I saw this top as it happened. I fucking called that shit and all that. Anybody in
Right.
my little alpha team bullshit, they knew. But I
Right.
wasn't out here telling none of these like publicly for what? It don't add
Mm.
value. Motherfuckers is gonna be talking shit, hating, blah blah blah. So at the end of the day, you gotta do what you gotta do for you,
Mm.
right? And that's why you gotta learn. You gotta educate yourself. You gotta be the one that understands what's going on. Because if you don't, then whatever decision you make is going to be somebody else's decision, and you're not
Mm.
going to be able to ride that volatility out no matter how much you want to.
Gotcha. No, I mean that's a damn dude. Easy. You say things in such an easy to understand way if you're just again open to understand it, and something that I just heard myself is I go out there wanting to teach and almost impose a mindset type deal that
Right.
I didn't even realize that I necessarily may have been doing. But now that you say it, it's like, I think I have been doing some of that. And that's a tough thing that I didn't even realize I was even doing.
Right.
like, um, so I'm always trying to help educate. And, again, by no means do I think I know everything. But then
I
I
mean, we
hear some of
don't.
the ways that
Right.
someone else is doing something, and I'm like, that's not the right way. Like, I don't
Right.
know. But it's tough because it's like, that's what I have a tough time getting by whenever someone's having that mindset where it's like, that doesn't sound right to me.
Right.
Uh, but the way you describe things, I love it because you just punch a motherfucker in the face if needed. Like, hey man, you need to listen the fuck up and open clean the fucking earwax out your ear, motherfucker. Go sit on the couch. We having a fucking drink right now and we're gonna talk this shit. You know what I
It's
mean? Like,
crazy, man. Like I be
yeah.
wondering where some people, cause I yo that I mean I don't know if you've seen some of the streams, but sometimes I'll sit there and I'll Google, I'll sit there and search in front of people so they can see how I do it,
Right, right, right.
just so they can see like this can be found. This is not being hidden anywhere.
Right. Much
Like
love, Alan, for the $5 super chat as well. You can explain things to people, but you can't understand it for them.
yeah,
Mm,
that's a fact.
mm. Well, and that's something that I had such a tough time. That's something that I had such a tough time kind of getting by, unfortunately, for myself.
It's not easy.
It's not, man. It's really not. And again, like I truly want everyone to succeed, right? Like
Mhm.
so
That's
I
the
want
hard part.
everything to succeed. I want everything to be done in a good way that doesn't end up getting yourself wrecked. It's like almost like you're a parent type deal or whatever the case may be. It's the helicopter parent, right?
Mhm.
It's like, come on, man, I'm gonna hold your hand while we do this shit, cause like, motherfucker, you're gonna do something stupid. I'm just here to catch you when you do it. Uh, but damn, yeah, you could definitely explain things to people, but you definitely cannot make them understand it. That's
Not at
facts right
all.
there, Alan. Mm. Mm-mm. Were you around when ETH was fucking pennies, my friend?
I
Cause,
was, man, and I
god
thought it
dang.
was BS. I didn't understand crypto that well back then.
Right.
To realize that I should have just put some money in there and just let it just forget about it.
Mm.
Because I was telling people, yeah, yo, if you like it, buy it, but I don't like it. That's what I was telling people.
Right,
And
right,
there was
right.
people that they were buying it at $40 or whatever back then, when it
Right.
was 2016, 2015 when it first dropped. I mean, that's when it was running up to $100 the first time.
Right. No, and
So
I get that. I mean, either way, that's just that's just how it is right there, man. All these folks are gonna go through and like I was pitched Bitcoin back in 2013,
right,
2014. I went out, we went to like a little resort with Jamaica or something like that, and one of my friends is like trying to get me in, and I was big on to fucking swing trading and foreign exchange trading and all that stuff at the
yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah.
And he was like, dude, fuck all that. Just look at
Right,
Bitcoin, do
right.
this, blah blah blah.
He
Like,
understood.
yeah,
He
he understood.
understood.
You look back a few years later, motherfucker retired. You know what I
Yep.
mean? I'm
Living in
still
the
I'm still
fucking
messing with that
Alps,
same
some
stack of money
shit.
that I had
For
5 years later.
sure.
Oh shit. Yeah,
You know
dude.
how that goes, man.
Yeah. Yeah, for
Shit,
sure.
we try.
Hey, we tried, but hey, that was my little failed moment. You know what I mean? Like that
Right.
was my
I
because I
dropped
always
that
had a
ball too,
goal.
man. I dropped that ball
Yeah.
too. I dropped that Bitcoin ball too, man. So don't feel
Yep.
bad about it. That's why I try to really give everybody a fucking thorough vantage point. Like,
Mm.
oh, everybody wants some 20-minute streams, but I'm gonna tell you, to really fully grasp what you need to do, you ain't getting it in a 20-minute stream. I'm
No,
sorry.
you can't. You
You
can't.
can't.
There's
Like
just
it's
no way. I've
just
tried to I've tried to summarize my streams. I've tried to keep them 20 minutes sometimes. Like I see Hexologist, shout out to him, but I see Hexologist come on and like drop a little 20-minute video. And I'm like,
well, you
"What?"
can drop a 20-minute video, but you ain't doing a 20-minute live stream.
No, I know.
You know,
Yeah, so
like
yeah, so
not
he'll
even
do yeah.
comparable.
And I'm like, "How is he knocking out so much content in 20 minutes?" Like
Because even when Hexo does a live stream, he goes to 30 minutes. He's not always doing 20 minutes.
Right, 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 right,
You
right.
know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah.
It's hard to get away with a short live stream because there's so much interaction. Like look at all the chats you've had to skip. Look at all the chats you've had to ignore. Like you think people aren't writing to us? Of course, bro. I bet when I'm streaming alone, I rarely, if ever, look at them. It's complicated. It's hard to do.
Wow.
It's hard to just keep up with all of it because you're trying to get the content out.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah, and
can't
again,
stream to myself. Like I feel like a weirdo when I do that. So I got a live stream.
okay, fair enough. Yeah, I've done the yeah. So I got you got to make the little short form content too. And that's what I'm like, fuck it, man. I want to teach, I want to educate, and like,
Right.
I know people don't have the mental capacity in some cases because we live in this everything has to happen right away, instant gratification world
Yeah.
that we live in nowadays. So if you don't deliver something right away, sometimes they're like, and I'm out. And you're
Right.
like, if you listen and you get it to an hour in, you're gonna fucking hear something that you never heard for. But
Yeah.
so that's why I try to do like little short snippets where it's like, hey, here's a how-to, and it's 3 minutes long, right? Like,
Yeah. I
here's the
mean,
information you want. Here's the information you get. Bam.
it's tough, man. It's tough because it just depends what your focus is.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And I think I try to draw people in with my memes and my titles,
Mm.
because it's really hard to sit here and write what I really want to write on a title,
Right.
or because I be
Try to keep it 50
operating.
words or less, my friend.
Yeah, I be
Or
trying
50
to
characters.
operate. I be trying to operate like discreetly, so motherfuckers don't see I'm red pilling left and right. Cause
Right.
that's all I do. I don't do
Right.
nothing else. I've yet to be banned. I've yet to be anything.
Right.
There's a reason
That's
for that.
incredible.
Yeah, I know how to move, and that's kind of the point.
Wow.
So you gotta kind of know how to push, how to get pushed, type of
Mm.
thing. And I don't know, man. In this day and age where they trying to censor you for breathing, like you gotta know. You gotta know how to talk. You gotta know how to. You gotta know.
Yo, you took a step the wrong way.
Oh yeah, like move left, motherfucker. You can't move right. Like that's where they
Oh
at,
shit.
bro. Like it's crazy out here.
Facts, dude. All
It's
right.
wild, man.
I got one final question, then we'll just kind of
Sure.
look at some chat stuff. So what kind of dreams have you achieved with Hex? What kind of dreams do you plan on achieving with Hex, Pulse Chain, and even PulseX?
Ultimately, man, my goal is to just be able to educate as many people as possible about what they need to be educated on, and that unfortunately requires resources. You can't be a nice guy and do it. You got to
Mm,
make it a whole show, kind of like RH is doing it.
yeah.
So I got plans like that, but my shit is gonna be just entirely different because my whole thought process is different than RH's. I don't care about the masses. The masses, like you can only tolerate them. Like I'm just not that frame. Like I don't have this frame of mind, so my angle is just gonna be completely different. It's gonna be higher level.
Okay.
Um, so that's just gonna require a lot of resources, and we gotta play their game basically and be better at it than them.
Love it. Love
So
it.
that's my goal, honestly.
I
Um,
mean, you've already been able to accomplish some of this as well from just so what made you even start talking about Hex, man? I said it was the last question, but fuck, dude, I just want to have every kind of conversation with you.
well,
I can
it's
see why
interesting
these things go
because
for hours, you know?
when I first found Hex, I kind of knew, I understood it was a real crypto
Mm.
because it wasn't like everything else.
Mm.
I innately understood, even though I couldn't verbalize it. I understood. I don't know how to explain it besides that. I just knew. It's the weirdest thing.
Well,
I
because
don't know how
math,
to.
dude. It's math.
Well, yeah, but I wasn't putting any math on it at that time. Yeah, this was before I was
Oh.
doing charts. I didn't
Oh.
do charts until way later after I found this. Must have been 3 months after I found Hex. I spent a
Wow.
solid 2 months dissecting it before I actually was making charts to make sure I understood.
Right.
Just verbally or in text what the hell was going on, and that's how I was able to make the charts because then I could understand and then think of what I could drum up with the data. It was a
Right.
qualitative angle and then a quantitative angle that I took on it. And that's really what allowed me to be able to educate everybody on what the hell was going on because it was a lot. It's not
Right.
easy. So it's not like I buck shots at those that don't know. I buck shots at those that have been around and don't try. Those are the people I will always buck shots at. Like, if you've
Right.
been around longer than me, you should know more about X than me. Fuck you if you don't, and you think you can talk to me in any kind of way. Like, you out your fucking mind. Like, nah, bro, you don't even know how the t-shirt rate work. You need to get the fuck out of my face.
Yo, dude, that's so fucked that you say that. Like, cause that's one of the like the easiest argument I think RH should just destroy people on is just to even have a conversation or debate, if you will. You know, like motherfucker doesn't debate, he just like knocks people out. But because they're all fucking uneducated. But I'm just like start off with just saying, explain to me what a t-shirt is. And if they can't understand that basic principle, like if they haven't taken enough time to understand the basic principle of what a t-shirt is, like what point do you even have to even have a discussion with me about hex? You don't get to say anything. So I'm like, if you can explain what a t-shirt is, why would I even bother trying to, we'll say, debate or educate or anything? So it tripped me out that he does this all the time, because then eventually they hit him with the fact that, you know, his physical
Yeah,
appearance or,
right.
you
Some
know,
dumb, some
the
personal
yeah,
attack because they don't have
yeah,
anything intellectual,
right.
right? And this is why I've always been of the mind frame. I don't need to show you my face because at the end of the day, you can't even talk to me about crypto,
Mm,
right?
mm,
I mean, let's be honest, right? Anybody that has a problem with RH and or whoever, right? They always come with these personal attacks, and why is that? Because they don't have any intellectual legs to stand on.
right, right,
So why would
right,
anybody engage them anyway?
right.
None to engage.
No, and that's as simple as it is right there. I mean,
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah,
that's as simple as it is, and I love that right there. Let me wrap this up here with a few questions. I know we had a conversation on some of this, but Big GZ says, "Glad you found Hex at Wales Only. You've been dropping diamonds ever since."
appreciate it, bro.
So big shout out to Big GZ. Much love to you as well. We got Kaiser saying, "What are your thoughts on RH V3 V4 updates? Could we still see launch in the next 2 months?"
Uh, I don't know if we'll see a launch in the next 2 months, but I think it's highly likely. Because I mean, where are we? You know, think about what's going on and what the end product is supposed to be. How close do you think we are to that?
We're past my point.
Well, well, think about it. If we want a final product, we already know all the rest of the stuff is done.
Right, right, right,
What's being finalized now is essentially the DEX swapping function.
right. Well,
So
and so
what's
you
left
know why
after
we
that?
can't. You know why we can't have. You know why there isn't a bridge into Pulse Chain testnet right now, right?
Nah, I don't know actually.
So I actually found this out and discovered it just, you know, doing the streaming and going through and researching, right? Because I was like, why the fuck is there no bridge, right?
Right,
Like Pulse Ramp was the thing before. They did great. They had the Rapstein network or whatever it was back then, right?
right,
Or Rinkeby is what it was. Rinkeby testnet
right.
for Ethereum. So I was like, why is it going on? So apparently, we'll say like 7 months ago, Rinkeby went down. The Ethereum testnet for Rinkeby, they took it down. They switched it over to the E2.0 and they moved it to Gorelli. So you would think, okay, we'll just use the Gorelli testnet. Well, somehow, some way, they decided to actually give real-world dollar value on Ethereum testnet Gorelli. It was the craziest shit ever, but you
Hmm,
can actually go buy
that's interesting.
Gorelli Ethereum right now, which is real-world dollars, USDC, and convert it, and it's going for like 40 cents right now, or something just extremely
That's
stupid.
crazy.
So you can't bridge in a testnet, because then the testnet for Pulse Chain would actually have real world dollar value, like, because there is real world dollar value, and then at that point in time that could be a tax moment.
Right,
You know,
right.
like, so I don't they don't have a way of actually getting a bridge right now, because the other two don't use E2.0. They use the proof of validator concept, or not validator, proof of stake concept.
Right. Proof of stake,
And
yeah.
yeah, and so yeah, the proof of delegation. There you go. So they had that done, and the downside to it is like you have Ropsten and some other one, but there is no ability to get Gorelli Ethereum, which is the one for E2.0, to actually have it over on Pulse Chain. So I don't think we'll actually see a bridge. So if we don't see a bridge, we don't see limit orders, by the way,
Right.
because there has to be a dollar value to do limit orders. I'm sure you could do limit orders through ratio, but like I don't think that would be a thing. I don't think it'd be
Yeah, I don't know
wise
how
to do
that would
that.
work. I mean, I haven't seen one work like that where there's not a dollar value.
Right. I've never seen it either. So it led me to believe that I was like, okay, cool. So we won't see a bridge on Pulse Chain testnet.
Right.
So if everything else is basically already done, you got the buy and burn function, you got you have the ability to do swaps, you have the ability to do LP, you have the ability to do yield farming.
Right.
Everything that we basically need to happen for PulseX to be done is essentially done.
Correct.
So I'm a big believer that like we would be seeing it sooner rather than later. But again, I'll say it right now, dude. I'm a fucking hopium dealer, right? Like, I'm also taking that shit myself. Because I think that at some point there does have to be that moment in time that we aren't going to be launching perfect. We don't have a perfect, but you have to be we have to be as fucking close to perfect as possible.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So like
And that's
I
what's
get
hard to accept.
yeah, we're past MVP. So like if we're gonna
Yeah.
not launch at MVP, then we need to make that motherfucker perfect.
Right. And that's what's happening. And
And
that's
that's what's
what's
happening.
yeah.
That's ideally that's essentially what's exactly happening. So yeah, I would see as long so yeah, V4 coming out, it's gonna help with the validators. And then, assuming that there's really nothing else, I think PulseX is for the most part done. Some
Right.
crazy way to say that. Now, again, what you see on user interface, and I've said this before, and what you see as the underlying code, way different, folks. User interface is just whatever they fucking want you to see on the website.
Right.
The actual underlying code of PulseX is way further completed.
Yeah. It's a whole nother beast, really.
Yep. And then last question that was asked was, what happens when CBDCs come out and how will it affect crypto? And I just kind of saved that one. I think we talked a little bit about that.
Yeah. Hard to say how it affect crypto because we don't know what kind of functionality they're gonna have.
Mm.
Right. Like what kind of powers they're gonna give themselves, basically. So we'll
Dude,
see
that is
because,
a great
well,
point.
if you pay attention to what they're doing with these banks, they're trying to essentially wipe out the little banks so that you
Mm.
only put your money in big banks. They're homies. They're primary dealers, is what they're called, actually.
Okay.
Not a coincidence that they're called dealers, but just saying, that's ultimately what's going to
It's the
determine
house
that.
money, fam.
hmm
Yep.
That's exactly right.
Yep.
Exactly
Will's
right.
only, what's your vision on bondings? Have you ever done education on that?
Yeah, what's funny? Before he actually came up with that term, I was explaining all that shit all the time because I was tired of people fucking talking about these stupid coins and market cap and all this dumb shit that people
Yep.
just don't understand. It doesn't matter.
Right.
All you gotta do is sit there and wait for the price to go up because the dollar only goes down.
Mm. Yeah,
Very
you
basic.
said that you were talking about that shit 2021 a long
That's
time
right.
ago,
Yeah, 2021. That's right.
So,
It's real basic. Kind of like it's explained with the so-called Hart's law. If things are
mhm.
tied together, all rising tide lifts all boats, and that's
Mm.
ultimately how our ecosystem is going to function. So it's just a matter of, you know, things just working properly. Ultimately, kind of like what we see with the T-share and the price of HEX. That correlation is a
I
solid
love that.
one. Yeah, most of the time.
Yeah.
Very rarely does it go to 99 or 98%. I mean, it's so rare. But it happens,
Right.
But other than that, it's 100%, 100% of the thing, 98% of the time, 99% of the time.
Do you see there being any parity when it comes to hex on both networks? And if so, what's your definition of parity? I guess I'll clarify.
Um, I guess I'm gonna say yeah. I'm gonna say I do believe there's gonna be parity because I'm hard pressed to think that something as good as Hex can't be the same price on two legit chains.
Mm.
And this is me saying ETH is legit because people don't want to accept the fact that it's already controlled by World Economic Forum.
Right.
Yeah, it's true. So it is what
Oh
it
shit!
is.
Yeah, they got their hands in that as soon as they could.
Yep, sure did.
Oh shit, that's too funny. Yeah, RH said PulseX is working flawlessly. Exactly, all that stuff. By the way, Finbear's asking to get a good little chat afterwards. I believe something like that with you. I don't. Yeah, Wales only. Let's have a quick chat after this. What he was saying. So, might as well pop that up there for you so you can see.
Yeah, I got shit to
But
do, bro. So that shit gonna have to wait.
hey, if Hex is paired, yeah, well, let me just kind of knock this out. If Hex is paired, put PLS one. No, that's too crazy. So you're trying to explain bonding right there. I get it. You know, it's tough to go through with
That was an
ratios and
example.
bonding. Yeah, yeah, that's a tough one. Hopium he. Oh my gosh, I'm still believing launching in May. Yeah, I do not want it to launch in May, man. I am so against the launch in May now at this point in time that like I just like he'll do it just for the purpose of doing it. I feel like that is, and that's not what I think he wants to do personally.
I don't
Like
know. I think he wants to launch it as soon as possible. I just don't know
exactly
when that's gonna be.
right. So should it happen to be in May, so be it. But like the thing is, I don't want it to be the mid May launch because if it doesn't launch mid May, folks, God dang it, dude! I'm so tired of seeing Hex depleted because these motherfuckers over here just getting everyone on this mid May again. And so like that's why I say it.
I got you now. Yeah,
Bro,
that's
like
why I'm dying. I'm like, oh, I didn't even think of that. I don't even think
yeah,
of the
man.
price. That's the fucked up thing.
I know. I just want Hex to do its thing again, man. So like,
Yeah,
fucking
I
a, dude.
feel
Just
you.
either
I
launch
feel you
PulseChain
now.
now or just fucking wait. Don't do it mid May, or because god
Yeah,
dang, if he doesn't launch mid May, Hex is taking a good old beat again, dude, for fucking no
yeah,
reason.
sure will.
No reason.
Well, cause look, I would thought the dip was good to buy a couple days ago.
Oh
Wrong,
god damn, dude. So I got this whole
wrong.
thing. The whales are suppressing the price, but that's not you whales, obviously,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
whales are suppressing the price, and they're gonna do that because they don't want to get outpaced and outbeat whenever PulseChain comes out. Simple as that. It's the same thing that happens in basically every asset class.
Yeah.
They have someone who controls a decent amount who can, move markets and have the ability to move markets, and then they can just play with it how they desire.
And it's not
Um,
that hard to move hex market. That's the thing that people don't understand. It's not that hard to move it.
right. No, and I know it can go up or down very quickly because of low liquidity right now.
Right.
And that's why I think whenever you see PulseChain launch, you're going to see, because of low liquidity, Hex take a little dip on Ethereum Hex.
Could it could.
Could. And then, I see it going back up fairly quickly as well because I
Right.
see people saying, hey,
Buying that shit.
I got a 10x over here on my Pulse bag. I'm going to go take 10% of that and go buy some more Hex or whatever the case
Yeah,
may be.
whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think we have a whole lot of stuff happening here. We got Bally Brand saying true. Love it so much, Bally Brand. Well, damn, dude. Wells, I want to have this conversation with you for fucking many more hours. I feel like, my friend. I
But
don't.
now you understand why these streams don't stop. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I just
It's
these
crazy.
conversations are fire. I would love to have you back on the channel at some point in
Sure
time.
thing, bro.
Let me
Anytime.
know. Let everyone know in the chat where they can find you, all your socials, how they can hit you up, and what's going on.
I'm on Twitter. I'm on Telegram. Same name. No. Oh, and on YouTube. But the
Hey.
number, the one, is only on Twitter. It's the only place where the number is.
Again, folks, if y'all need to, link down in the description for all of his socials. Made it very simple and easy for you. Got Twitter, Telegram, and YouTube. So if you want to hit him up, obviously he's definitely very knowledgeable in this world that we live in and lots of different things. I highly suggest that y'all go give him a follow because if you were following me and not following him, you fuck my friend. But that's just to put it bluntly, Wales. Guys, thank you so much for being on the channel today. I would much rather carry on this conversation for another hour. Maybe we'll do that when PulseChain launches, and because I don't plan on doing any of the ratio trading, so maybe when it launches, we can just have it. But we got Alan Fizame saying Negrodamus done told you.
Word.
All right, fam. Have a good one. Take it easy,
Pleasure,
y'all.
man.
Peace.
Peace out, guys.